If you have a block available, I invite you to grab it now, or you can bunch up your blanket and use that, or just imagine that you have something. You don't have to use anything at all. If you're using a block, place it on the mat between your feet and come to lay down again. From here, again, connect your spine with the supportive flat mat. Draw your core muscles in as you lift your feet and find that block and connect both feet to it to lift it and bring it up and over towards your hands. We're just going to pass it from top to toes. Set it down, pick it back up, pass it up, set it down, pass it back, set it down. A little bit of a fun game. I feel a little bit like a monkey when I do this. I don't know why I feel that way. You'll have to let me know how you feel. All right, 2 more times. And then we'll prepare for sun salutations. All right, good job. Clear the way, stretch out long on your mat. We'll begin with sun salutation A and a supine variation. We'll do it laying down. All right, notice what flat feels like, what long feels like. Think tall thoughts, even though you're laying low on the ground. You might reach your arms overhead. If you have limited space, you can grasp opposite elbow with opposite hand and frame your head. Dig your heels into the mat and press your whole back body with strength flat into the mat as though you're going to levitate. I know that sounds weird. I know you're not going to. Take a breath in. Reach up, sit up. Like a zombie. Reach out in front of you. You might reach toward your toes, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Think tall thoughts. Your hands could rest in your lap. And ragdoll. Lay your belly down. Reach again towards your toes or past them. And then curl down. Come to lay down using your hands to reach as needed. And maybe reaching overhead to frame your head again, lying flat. You can rest your hands at your sides on one more exhale. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, arms reach overhead. Maybe frame your head, reaching for opposite elbows. Breathe in, notice the length of your waist, and then sit up like Frankenstein. Nice. Reach towards your toes. Half lift, sit tall. Think tall thoughts. Exhale, ragdoll. Reach forward. You can kind of walk your heels back as you lean back. You may move around on your mat as you come to lay down, reaching overhead again. And on an exhale, bring your arms to rest along your sides. Again, reach up. Maybe frame your head. Sit up. Reach your toes. Half lift, sit tall. And ragdoll. And roll back, lay down. Reach overhead. Breathe in. And exhale, rest. Decide if you'd like to lay here and rest for a moment or take one more round. When you're ready, reach overhead. Exhale as you sit up, Reach towards your toes. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, fold forward like a rag doll. Inhale as you roll back and reach overhead. Exhale, rest. Again, you're invited to consider if you'd like to lay here or continue moving. If you'd like to continue moving, I invite you to join me standing up for Sun Salutation B. Might sit up and let your hands support you, toggling your knees over to the side. Turning over for tabletop, finding a footprint on the floor, press into both hands, lift your hips, and roll up to standing. I know you know how, but sometimes it's nice to be guided. And there are studies that show that one's ability to get up off of the floor from sitting to standing is associated with long life. So practice as you will. All right, sun salutation B. Find both footprints, maybe look down and place them intentionally as though on railroad tracks beneath your hips or wider. A breath in might bring your thumbs to turn outward, pausing in mountain pose, standing tall and firm. Exhale here. Inhale, hands can reach overhead. Exhale, lower your hips as though to sit in a chair behind you. Check in with your knees, see if they can point the same direction as your toes, straight forward. Nice, stay here or dive forward to fold. You can bend your knees to support tight hamstrings. Inhale, half lift, hands to shins or your lap. Maybe work towards finding a flat back, making something like a number 7 with your body. When you're ready, lengthen your legs as you dive forward, folding again, hanging from your hips, maybe shaking your head yes. Maybe picking up your headphones when they drop out of your ears. Exhale here. Walk your hands away from your feet and pause with your hips high in the sky for downward facing dog. You can stay here or come along for a vinyasa. Shifting shoulders over handprints, making your body long for plank. Stay like this or lower your knees. Keep your elbows in close as you lower your chest towards the floor. Inhale, bend your right knee, reach for your ankle. Squeeze your right glute, opening the front hip flexor. Lower that foot. Same thing, other side. A breath in might bend your left knee. You can reach back with your left hand. You may or may not catch your ankle. Squeeze your left glute. And exhale, lower your foot. Plant both hands beneath your shoulders, maybe along the wide edges of your mat. Lift your sternum away from the mat any amount for baby cobra. A breath in might inflate your belly against the floor. A breath out might bring you to lower. When you're ready, send your hips towards your heels for tabletop or come down for child's pose, bringing your seat towards your feet. Reach forward like a puppy that wants to play. Spread your handprints wide, plant both hands, shift forward, tuck your toes, lift for plank, and send your hips high for downward facing dog. Shift your weight so your left foot is heavy. Peel your right foot from the mat and send your heel towards the sky. Three-legged dog. Bend your lifted knee. Step forward, bringing your foot towards or between your hands. Swing your back heel down, bringing your left toes out towards maybe 10 o'clock. You can release your hands and lift up and adjust as needed. Find your strong warrior one. Inhale, look up. Exhale here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Maybe frame your foot or plant them right in front. You can step your left foot back as needed and lift your right, sending it up and back for three-legged dog. And lowering for downward facing dog. Stay here for a couple of breaths or join me with a vinyasa. You can breathe in. Exhale to shift forward, maybe lower the knees. Keep elbows close. Lowering the chest. Untuck the toes, find cobra. Exhale, lower. Tuck your toes, send your hips up and back. Take your time. Right foot becomes heavy, left foot lifts. Bend your knee, step forward. Plant your right foot behind you. Toes can point towards 2 o'clock. When you're grounded, release your hands from the mat and reach up, warrior one. Nice. Stay for a breath. Wiggle your fingers, maybe make space between your shoulders and your ears. On an exhale, bring your hands to plant in front of you. Step back and send your left foot to the sky. And lower it to meet your right for downward facing dog. Stay here and breathe or take a vinyasa, shifting forward for plank, lowering for chaturanga or crocodile. Inhale, press into both hands, lift the sternum through cobra, maybe even pressing into the tops of your feet to lift your knees. Upward facing dog. Lower everything to the mat. Pause and rest. When you're ready, tuck your toes. Send your hips up and back. Lift your knees, send your hips high for downward facing dog. Walk your hands and feet to meet. You might choose to stay and pause in a fold. Exhaling here, nodding yes, or shaking no. Inhale, slowly uncurl, rise, stand tall. Shoulders and head can lift last. And pause in your strong mountain pose again. Nice work. You know where we're headed. You're welcome to follow along for another round of sun salutation beat. Or practice anything that you've already enjoyed and would like to return to. Inhale, you might choose to reach up high. Exhale, you might lower your hips, reaching forward or connecting palms and center. Pause seated in your imaginary chair. Breathe in. Lower a little bit more. Exhale, reach towards the floor. Lift your hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Walk hands and feet apart, downward facing dog. Shift shoulders over hands, plank. Lower chaturanga. Option for cobra or upward facing dog. Lower, breathe out. Take child's pose. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips, downward dog. Inhale, lift your right foot. Exhale, step forward. Arrange your feet, set a firm foundation, and inhale to rise. Warrior one. Exhale, bring hands to floor. Plant fingertips wide. Send your right heel high behind you. And lower your right toes to meet the left. Downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward for plank. Exhale, choose to lower, chaturanga. Inhale, choose cobra or upward facing dog. Lower. Knees wide, feet together, hips back, child's pose. Breathe here. Plant your hands, tuck your toes, bend your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Lift your left heel and step forward. Plant your feet, set up for warrior one. Inhale, release your hands, rise up. And exhale, lower. Plant your hands again. And send your left foot back for three-legged dog. And lower your foot to meet your right. Stay where you are or take a chaturanga. Moving through a vinyasa. Meet me in downward facing dog. Bring your hands and feet to meet, however you'd like to get there. Pause in a forward fold. Opposite hands might grasp opposite elbows. Exhale here, maybe sighing. Inhale, roll up, press into both feet, your strong legs like tree trunks. Curling one vertebrae at a time, lifting shoulders and head very last. You might pause here and turn your thumbs outward for mountain pose. Just breathe. Appreciate the work you've done. Notice any changes in your energy level since we started. Do you have more energy or are you tired? Are you willing to move more or are you ready to rest? It's your choice.